Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah, this is not a video I particularly want to be making as it pertains to something that has unfortunately occurred, and some are calling it a scandal. I would just say it's an unfortunate series of events that has transpired, but quite honestly, the title of this video, "You Called Down the Thunder, well now you've got it," pretty well sums up my thoughts on this whole thing, at least initially. I'm doing some other videos contemporaneously with this one where I get into, and I'll go into it a little bit in this video. I'm getting kind of tired of the Western press sort of constantly trying to play gotcha or something like that with Thailand, where they'll focus on one thing and then sort of use that to sort of collectively punish all of Thailand, as if all of Thailand was engaging in some kind of untoward activity. At the end of the day, single events, are what they are. They're not, collective punishment. There's been sort of, ever since the beginning of COVID, there's been an almost default position of a kind of collective punishment needs to be, meted out, when in reality we could just, run our law enforcement functions the way that we always did and things would be fine. That said, let's get into the meat, the high weeds of this thing. So I thought of making this video after reading the recent article from the Thai Examiner, thaiexaminer.com. Article is titled "Big Joke Probes Pattaya Sex Scandal with High Stakes Not Only for Quote-Unquote Sin City, but Thailand Itself." Quoting directly, "High stakes investigation into DWTV's expose sends shockwaves through Pattaya and Thailand. Deputy National Police Chief Big Joke," so that's Surachat Big Joke Hakpan, quoting further, "takes charge as the scandal unravels. Controversial claims of bribery, blocked evidence, and a city's image at risk. The real victim, a young girl, lost in the sensational storm." Quoting further, Deputy National Police Chief General Surachat Hakpan, also known by the public as quote-unquote Big Joke, is to take over the investigation into an underage sex scandal in Pattaya, exposed in a German TV documentary aired in recent days, which targeted Pattaya as a haven for sex tourists and those seeking underage services. It comes as Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin, the local business operators are extremely concerned about the damage being done to Thailand's image across the world and its known effect within the already struggling foreign tourism industry. A couple of things here. So, first of all, let's get into, I have not seen the documentary for various reasons. One of them is I don't have any prurient interest in such matters. I have read sort of a factual breakdown of what happened. Long story short, one thing that just off the top of my head was my understanding that occurred here is this person was issued bail. They basically skipped bail pending their trial, got out of the country. Now, on the one hand, yeah, justice needs to be served. On the other hand, they're not here. And at the end of the day, I think most everyone in Thailand would probably agree, hey, if they're out of the country, that's also a net positive. That said, again, I don't know the full facts of how all this went down. There seems to have been, let's call it, improprieties perhaps that may have occurred. Again, I don't know, and quite honestly, I think a full police investigation is warranted based on what we've seen here. That said, quoting further in that Thai Examiner article, quoting directly, the president of the Pattaya Night Business Operators Association, Mrs. Lisa Hamilton, voiced her concerns, asserting that foreign media had sensationalized the news. Yeah, and there you go. And that's a fact. Now, I want to be clear, and I'm going to get in further into this here in a minute. No one messes with kids in Thailand. So that's a given, okay? We all agree on that. So anybody, but it's always hard, and I really applaud this woman for standing up and saying, hey, not everybody in Pattaya, stop tarring us all with this same brush. Not everybody in Pattaya is involved in this terrible behavior. So kind of stop doing that. I'm doing another video specifically on that because the Western press, for whatever reason, just loves to pillory Thailand and loves to make Thailand out something. It loves to make Thailand out to be something she's not. Okay, setting all of that aside, something bad happened here. It involves trafficking in underage children, basically, it appears to me. And Big Joke is now on this, okay? I've watched this man's career pretty much since the time he came on my radar over at Thai Immigration. The quote in the title of this video comes from the film Tombstone, starring Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, where he's finally, he's trying not to be a lawman at that point in his life, and finally it just comes to the point where so many bad actors are in his town that he has no choice, and he says, "You called down the thunder, well, now you've got it." And that is what has happened here, okay? I actually think this event, if you want to call it that, or at least the involvement of Big Joke in this event, probably marks a watershed moment here. I think that a couple of years from now, or even months from now, we're probably going to look back on this whole thing as a before and after event. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it's kind of like how when Big Joke went to immigration, and immigration was a certain way before Big Joke, and after Big Joke took it over, even though he left and was not part of that organization anymore, it had changed. Things had changed. Again, you called down the thunder, and now you've got it. And believe me, look, again, I've been watching his career for years. There is not any political jockeying he needs to do for some years now because of the way sort of the system works here in Thailand. So you've got his full attention. And you have the one police officer that I've been watching who is relentless. In thinking of making this video, I thought of coming up with something snarky to say like, oh, who's Big Joke the equivalent of? And sort of pick two, characters from pop culture to sort of come up with it. And I had a hard time doing this. I came up with one, Columbo, from the old Peter Falk series, Columbo. And then I was like, well, who's the other one? It'd be somebody who's tough, da-da-da. At the end of the day, the only thing I could ultimately think of was the Terminator, because he's that doggedly relentless in going after his goals. We saw this in immigration, and we have since seen it when he's gotten involved in other sort of high-profile investigations. Once you call down the thunder, it doesn't go away. It's just there, and now Big Joke is on this. So who do I feel somewhat bad? Well, it's not somewhat. I feel bad for in this. First of all, who I feel bad for is the legitimate entertainment operators, and I know you're out there, there's going to be blowback because, to use the parlance of American common law jurisprudence, especially in a Supreme Court context back in the United States, there's going to be strict scrutiny here. Big Joke's going to be looking at everyone, and he's going to want to make sure that everyone's paperwork is in order. That means more admin costs. That means more time making sure your house is in order, getting your ducks in a row. Because again, there are plenty of people, and look, I'm tired of the pearl clutching from the West. Yeah, guess what? The rest of the world has basically said men are terrible, and we're going to ignore them or sideline them or marginalize them, whatever, and I don't want to get into all of that. Frankly, I moved out here to be away from all of that. But yeah, guess what? Newsflash. There are places here in Thailand, throughout the country, where men of all stripes go from time to time to enjoy a beer, like the nightlife, like to boogie. I do too, truth be told, from time to time. But again, there are rules. There are no children involved in adult activities. But yes, adult entertainment occurs. That is a thing, okay? I don't know why they kind of use these type of stories to then conflate and make Thailand look bad for what I call Thailand's notion of conservative tolerance, where basically, look, 98% of Thais are super duper conservative, but it's just their paradigm that, hey, live and let live. Conservative tolerance. Guess what won't be tolerated? The victimization of Thai children will not be tolerated. So on the one hand, where I'm a little bit angry with the press on this because, again, they use it as stated to sensationalize and one particular incident into sensationalizing and trying to make, quite honestly, the country look bad, which is just terrible. And secondly, it's also kind of disingenuous because looking at Thailand solely through the lens of Pattaya would be like looking at America solely through the lens of Las Vegas. It would be wildly warped from the reality, okay? I'm not saying there's anything bad about Pattaya or Las Vegas. Both of them have been described at one time or another as quote-unquote Sin City. But look, again, it's this whole adult entertainment. Look, I'm a grown man, you know. I don't want to go be entertained by Disney movies or something. I'm a grown man. You know, grown men enjoy what grown men enjoy. There's nothing criminal in that. But those who traffic in children are a scourge on decent society. And guess what? We have our own scourge that we can set against you. And that's Big Joke. And guess what? This is the perfect job, as far as I can see, for Big Joke to sink his teeth into and get in there and deal with this. So again, there's sort of three sort of groups, four if you will, that I'm really kind of targeting this video at. One, folks again who run legitimate entertainment businesses, batten down the hatches, a storm's coming, be ready to comply, have your paperwork in order, be ready to present your documentation that your house is in order. That I think that's coming down, okay? And if your house is in order, I don't think you have anything to worry about here, okay? So that's it. Next thing, punters, in consumer, tourists. Is there anything for you to worry about? No. This will all be occurring at a law enforcement level. They'll be dealing with the vendors and things. It'll be kind of a behind the scenes thing from your perspective. Okay, so don't even worry about that. Now, if you're worried that more of this could happen in the sense that, well, I don't want to go to venues that there's even a possibility that they could be harboring children or in some way, you know, exploiting children. Let me tell you here, what is it they say? The best time to fly an airline is the day after they've had a plane crash. Well, to paraphrase the Big Lebowski, the plane has crashed into the mountain when it comes to this issue. That part is over. In one sense, this is kind of good news. This bandage is already pulled off. This has already occurred. We can set to dealing with the problem effectively. And as I said, you don't want to fly, you know, best time to fly an airline is the day after a plane crash because they're going to be running things as tight as they possibly can. That's kind of the similar situation going into this high season now. Big Joke's on this. We've seen what Big Joke's like when he sets his mind to something. I suspect anyone who is even remotely involved in this just absolutely terrible activity, you're in a bad place. And we'll get to you in a minute. But again, tourists, so-called punters, folks that want to come here and have a good time in Thailand and don't want to worry about whether or not they're involved in something illicit or illegal, rest assured, this is already being handled. You can tell by the way that it's moved. Finally, I've already sort of mentioned the Western press. I'm doing another video on that, so I won't get too far into that. But finally, let's actually speak, and I'm going to say a few things that I don't, you know, this is one of those topics where people become very reticent about speaking because it's an uncomfortable topic. Who wants to think about even the exploitation of children? It's awful. It really is awful. That said, I think this needs to be said to all of you evil people. People isn't even the right word for you, but to you entities that are hell-bent on abusing children. There was a time, I understand, where the analog nature of Thailand's immigration system was such that this place was porous in the sense of it was possible to get into this country and for you sick folks to perpetrate just truly awful, heinous things against the children of Thailand. Thailand's sons and daughters are yours no more. the digital capabilities with the immigration system place basically what amounts to a metaphorical iron dome over this country against letting any of you that have any kind of record in. Now, let's also bear in mind that now, as I said, you've called down the thunder. Our best law enforcement guy that, quite honestly, I think every Thai can agree, this is the perfect job for this man at this time to be doing, is on you. And then on top of it, what due process was out there is now all called into question. So ask yourselves, is this the place you would want to be in, where they're questioning even the need to put you through due process? Okay? I mean, I'm not saying anybody's going to come to the conclusion that you're not going to get it, but the questions are being asked. Okay? Point being, you're not welcome here. You're not wanted here. For all of us, it'd just be better if you went away. My personal opinion, I kind of prefer you all went to hell, but that's me. Okay? But whatever, it would just be good if Thailand was rid of this scourge on her people, quite frankly. You're not wanted. You're not welcome. Get out. And to any of you out there that think that the shadows in this country are somehow going to provide you some camouflage, let me tell you from personal observation, the shadows in Thailand will be far less kind to you than the light ever would be. Get out now. We want you gone. I don't know if we can evidence it any more than by appointing Big Joke to rooting you out. And as I've said in other videos, in my opinion, this is great. Tear this out, root and branch. And even if we find a few more scandals as a result of looking into it, and yeah, that will be something that we'll all be real sad to see, at least it will be gone. And we'll have burned this cancer out of our body politic sooner rather than later.